Hey Bama fans, is Ryan Grubb causing more concern by contradicting Ty Simpson's diagnosis of Alabama's biggest weakness? We need brutal honesty on this subject. Let's get to the news. Brutal honesty inside the Alabama locker room. Ryan Grubb and Ty Simpson expose the running game dilemma. With 3 games left in the regular season, the Alabama Crimson Tide is heading towards one of the most decisive moments of the year. Kalen DeBoer's team has shown strength, discipline, and focus, but like any great power, it also carries its own internal dilemmas. And perhaps none of them is being more debated than the performance of the running game, a historical pillar of the program's identity. The discussion gained momentum this week when quarterback Ty Simpson, one of the big names of the campaign and current Heisman Trophy candidate, decided to open up. He was direct, without beating around the bush. Alabama, according to him, needs to be brutally honest and admit that the ground attack is not up to the Crimson Tide standard. Simpson's diagnosis sounded like a wake-up call, a leadership voice unafraid to look inward and demand more efficiency from himself and his teammates. But a day later, offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb brought another perspective. And it wasn't a denial, but a constructive counterpoint. While Simpson spoke of a mental issue, Grubb preferred to call things by their name. The problem is physical. According to him, it's not a lack of confidence or focus, but rather technical execution and fundamentals. We need to fight to correct these errors. I don't think it's a mental problem, he stated, making it clear that he fully believes in the group he has at his disposal. This difference in perception between the quarterback and the offensive coordinator, while it may seem a worrying contrast at first glance, is actually a healthy reflection of what Alabama has been building under DeBoer, an environment where communication is open and where the pursuit of excellence is constant, even when there is disagreement. The team is far from collapsing. On the contrary, it is adjusting as great teams do, with self-criticism and shared responsibility. The numbers, it's true, don't lie. Alabama ranks only 120th nationally in rushing yards, and its running backs haven't been able to impose the pace that the Crimson Tide accustomed the country to seeing. Jam Miller has 321 yards, Kevin Riley 186, and Daniel Hill only 104. For a program that, under Nick Saban, was synonymous with physical power and dominance in the trenches, these numbers are striking. Grubb, however, was accurate in identifying where the problem begins, in communication and execution between the linemen. The coordinator highlighted that many errors stem from a lack of synchronization in double blocks and the physical posture of the offensive line. Sometimes we play with our feet a little too stretched, with a second step out of time. These are details that make all the difference, he explained. He also emphasized that the plays are there, but they aren't yet clicking as they should, and that the team needs to shield itself against the narrative that it's incapable of running the ball well. The most interesting point in this story is how both Simpson and Grubb are right in their own way. The quarterback sees the emotional reflection of the problem, the confidence that needs to be restored when the runs aren't working. Grubb, on the other hand, sees the technical and physical side, the fundamental corrections that need to happen at the line of scrimmage so that confidence returns naturally. Alabama, after all, is a team that builds its strength both mentally and physically. And it is precisely in the convergence of these two perspectives that the Crimson Tide can regain its balance. The immediate challenge won't be simple. Oklahoma, their next opponent, has the second-best run defense in the SEC and the fourth-best in the country, allowing only 82.4 yards per game. The game will therefore be the perfect test to gauge whether Alabama has learned from its own criticism. If they can move the ball against this defense, the team will not only answer internal questions, but also send a clear message to the rest of the country. Kalen DeBoer's Alabama is not a shaken giant. but a giant in the process of conscious rebuilding. This episode speaks volumes about the competitive DNA that DeBoer brought to Tuscaloosa. A truly strong program isn't one that avoids problems, but one that has the courage to face them head-on, with leaders who speak frankly and coaches who respond with solutions. Ty Simpson showed leadership by demanding more from the team. Ryan Grubb showed competence by taking on the job of correcting the fundamentals. And DeBoer, with his calm and methodical approach, has the task of aligning these visions within a single purpose: to restore to Alabama the physical and mental power that has always defined it. Let's move forward. Jahai Brown's presence in Tuscaloosa once again reinforces the mutual interest that has been growing between the talented wide receiver and the Alabama Crimson Tide. The young player, whose on-field skills have already earned him a 4-star rating, seems to be exactly the type of piece that Kalen DeBoer and his team are looking for to further strengthen their group of receivers of the future. It's no wonder that Alabama is investing considerable time and effort to ensure Brown understands how much he is valued by the program. What stands out in this case is not only Brown's technical quality, but also the way Alabama has conducted this recruitment process. The coach's demeanor during the recent visit was exemplary, transparent, respectful, and confident at the same time. The clear message sent to the young athlete that he would be the right guy for the slot receiver position in the 2027 class demonstrates that the program sees transformative potential in him. But at the same time, the fact that there was no pressure on Brown reveals the maturity with which Alabama handles its prospects, something that has always been a hallmark of the program. It's impossible not to highlight the importance of Jahai Brown's mother in this equation. Her presence on campus for the first time was a crucial step in the process. The player's own words reflect this. Alabama is consistent. I'm glad my mom made the trip this time to see with her own eyes the reason for my excitement. For many young players, especially those in early high school, the role of family in the decision-making process is invaluable. And Alabama, once again, showed that it understands this deeply. Providing a positive experience for parents is as important as impressing the athlete himself, and everything indicates that the visit fulfilled this function masterfully. Jahai Brown brings with him a set of qualities that make him a rare prospect: explosive, dynamic, and capable of changing the course of a game with his plays. He has been a key player in the pursuit of consecutive state titles with Christian Academy. This winning mentality certainly resonates with Alabama's values, where a culture of excellence and competitiveness is non-negotiable. Furthermore, his versatility as a slot receiver, a position that demands agility, court vision, and the ability to find space in tight defenses, makes him extremely attractive to the offensive system that Kalen DeBoer is building. But what is perhaps most impressive in this story is how Brown is handling the whole process, despite his youth. After all, he is only 16 years old. The player demonstrates remarkable maturity by stating that he is just enjoying the process. This reflects a balanced mindset, something that will be fundamental in dealing with the inevitable pressures that will come as he advances through the recruitment process and eventually reaches the college level. Brown knows he has options and that several universities are eyeing him, but Alabama seems to be in a privileged position in this competition. The vibrant atmosphere of a game day in Tuscaloosa, described by Brown as incredible, also plays a crucial role. It's no secret that the Bryant-Denny Stadium environment is one of Alabama's most powerful recruiting assets. The contagious energy of the crowd, combined with the state-of-the-art infrastructure and the program's legacy of success, creates an experience that few other places can offer. For a young athlete like Brown, who is beginning to dream of his future in college football, this experience can be decisive. As the process progresses, it's clear that Alabama is betting heavily on Brown. He represents the type of player who can make an immediate difference as soon as he sets foot on campus. More than that, he embodies the type of athlete Kalen DeBoer wants to attract. Someone with raw talent, a competitive mindset, and the ability to grow within the system. There's still a long way to go before a final decision is made. But everything indicates that the relationship between Brown and Alabama is strengthening with each new interaction. For Crimson Tide fans, this news brings reason for optimism, not only because of Brown's potential, but also because of how the program continues to position itself as an irresistible destination for the best talent in the country. While the future is still uncertain, one thing is certain: Alabama is playing to win, both on the field and behind the scenes of recruitment. There are certain defeats that resonate louder than others, those that leave deep marks not only on the scoreboard, but in the collective memory of a team. For the Alabama Crimson Tide, the painful 24-3 loss to Oklahoma last year is one of those still open wounds. And Kalen DeBoer, with his characteristic frankness, made a point of reminding his players of this chapter, not as a punishment or a form of resentment, but as a necessary reminder. The past can be a compass for the future. When the Sooners step on a Bryant-Denny Stadium this Saturday, it will be impossible to ignore the memories of that night in Norman. Alabama not only lost the game, but also saw its playoff aspirations crumble against an opponent that knew how to exploit every weakness and capitalize on mistakes. It was a show of strength from Oklahoma, led by a program that, under the command of Brent Venables, demonstrated its willingness to reclaim its place among the giants of college football. For the Tide veterans, that game was more than just a loss. It was a lesson in humility, preparation, and the importance of maintaining absolute focus. DeBoer, astute as ever, knows that recent history is a powerful tool. He acknowledges that there are new faces on the roster, rookies and transfers who didn't experience that game. But he also understands that the legacy of a program like Alabama's is rooted in the ability to learn from the past and transform that into fuel for the present. Our experiences help us be better next time, DeBoer said. That phrase, though simple, carries enormous weight. It reflects the philosophy of a coach who doesn't just want to win, but to build something lasting. A team that evolves, learns, and grows every week. The scenario of this matchup raises the stakes even higher. Alabama, currently ranked 4th in the college football playoff, is in a privileged position. But Oklahoma, in 11th place, knows that another loss practically eliminates its chances of competing for the national title. This creates a fascinating narrative. Two hungry teams, each with distinct but equally important goals. For the Sooners, it's about proving that last year's success wasn't a fluke, but rather the beginning of a new era. For the Tide, it's an opportunity to return the favor, to show that the pain of defeat has been transformed into motivation for something greater. Kalen DeBoer has been very clear in emphasizing that the focus must be on the present. Our focus is this team and our evolution, he said. Still, it's impossible to ignore that the past looms over this duel like a shadow. For the Alabama players who were on the field that night in Norman, the memory of feeling powerless against Oklahoma's dominant defense and methodical offense serves as a beacon. It's a warning that nothing can be taken for granted, especially against such a talented and well-coached opponent. Brent Venables, on the other hand, has been doing a remarkable job with his program. He brought a new energy to Oklahoma, reinforcing the idea that the team belongs to the elite group of college football. His presence in this game adds an extra layer of drama. Venables knows that Alabama will be motivated, but he also trusts in the resilient character of his own players. It will be a clash of mentalities, strategies, and above all, wills. For Alabama, this game represents more than a chance for revenge. It's an opportunity to assert who they are right now. The team has evolved significantly since that defeat, with tactical adjustments, development of young talent, and a renewed mentality. Kalen DeBoer has worked tirelessly to mold a group that not only seeks victories, but also understands the process necessary to achieve them. This Saturday will be a crucial test to measure how far that progress has taken them. Alabama carries the pain of defeat, but also the hope of redemption. Oklahoma, in turn, seeks to prove that it belongs at the top and that last year's victory was just the beginning. Regardless of the outcome, one thing is certain. The Tide players will take to the field knowing exactly what's at stake. And, as DeBoer rightly pointed out, sometimes it's necessary to look back to understand what needs to be done ahead. I want to hear your opinion.